Hello lovelies, so we're back again today with another exhumation from the Philippines, and this is our first group of gentlemen, the group of gentlemen who exhumed Jethro and baby Christian. And again, we're in the Philippines, a little bit north of Manila. And for those of you who don't watch the videos, just a little bit of back history. In the Philippines, you rent your burial spaces, your niches, your plots. They're most commonly called apartments, I believe, in the Philippines, for 5 years. And at the end of that 5-year lease, your family can either renew and pay again, or you will be exhumed. And at that point, your family can claim your remains and maybe have you cremated or buried somewhere else, or your remains are going to be bagged and placed into an ossuary warehouse for an indeterminate amount of time. It just depends on the amount of space that's left in that warehouse. But once the warehouse is full, they take all of the remains and bury them en masse in a potter's field. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to find the name of this little one that they are exhuming today. It is a little boy, and I have read that he was in the 3-year range, but again, I could not find his name. And as you can tell, he was from a higher apartment. So again, like we were talking about with the exhumation of especially baby Christian, the casket is in far better shape compared to the other exhumations we've seen where they are disintegrated down to nothing. There seems to be far less insect inclusion, and therefore this little guy's fared a little bit better than the other ones we've seen. So even though he does appear to be mummified, he does not appear to be as skeletonized as Joshua or Jethro. And I know in the last videos we had been discussing termite inclusion and whether or not that was what was breaking down the bodies as quickly. And I'm compelled to think that that was correct, because looking at this little one right here and the shape of his casket being, you can tell that it's 99% wood and some plastic, and it's fared very, very well. Like, it's not as eaten up as the other ones we've seen, and therefore his body has fared a little bit better. So I think we were right. I think it might be termites. And again, he was near, it wasn't a penthouse apartment, but he was close to the top. So that kind of reinforces what we were going with in the previous videos, that it's the termites rather than the unfortunate cockroaches that might be doing a majority of the damage. Also, they are going to be taking this little one, this little boy, and placing him back in his funerary apartment because he's not decomposed enough for them to bag his bones and place him in the ossuary warehouse. Now, I'm not exactly sure how this determination is made, because I feel like we have seen bodies in just the same condition that they still choose to exhume and bag up and place in that warehouse. But in this case, they deemed that he was not ready, in air quotes ready, and so what they're going to do is they're going to give him an exemption for another 2 years. They place him back in his funerary niche, his apartment, and we don't see it, so I'm not sure if they end up walling it up, closing it off again with cement or concrete, or if maybe they leave it open so that maybe air can get to it and it'll decompose a little bit quicker. I couldn't find any information on this other than the fact that sometimes in certain situations they will give an extension, but there wasn't any hard fast rules. I even looked up specific cemeteries to see if they had rules, and I couldn't find any. It just kind of seems like it's at the discretion of these gentlemen who are doing the work itself. So again, they are going to place our little guy along with his tiny little blue flip-flops back in his apartment and leave him for another 2 years, and then they're going to check on the decomposition at that point, and if he is more skeletonized, they will go ahead and exhume him, bag him up, place him in the warehouse, and wait for either his family to come claim him or wait for that warehouse to fill. And at that point, they will place him in a potter's field along with umpteen of his neighbors, and they will go ahead and bury them en masse. Again, I would love to know if they wall him back up and put his and put his marker back as his family had intended, or if they intentionally leave it open, hoping that moisture, air, maybe even insects will help with the decomposition to further it. Or if maybe they just don't do it because they choose not to. If anybody knows, I would love that information. And thank you guys so much for sticking with me and coming back for more videos. I really, really appreciate it. I find this fascinating, and I'm glad to know that you guys do too. Thank you so, so much. Love you.